Welcome. My name is Nick Zoshak, and this is my final pitch for Rainbow Blitz. Rainbow Blitz will be a 2D top-down game where players will change their color of their avatar to defeat similar colored enemies, solve puzzles, and get through each level. The theme and main mechanics for the game are the color wheel here. Each color has a certain position on this wheel, and the players will use those positions to determine whether they can stun or defeat an enemy and get through each level. How this works is, if the player is red, they will be able to defeat any enemy that is 2 color spaces to the left or right of their position by surrounding them. If they surround a color of anything further than that, such as blue, teal, or green, the enemy will only be stunned and then will chase the player after a couple seconds. As we see here on the right, it's a very simple outline of a level. There's a power star on the bottom left, a red enemy, a black circle indicating the player, and a red gate that's showing there's one more enemy left to be defeated. Also, the player must match the color of the gate before going through it. So this is a very simple outline of how play will happen. The player, who has turned themselves red, is now surrounding the red enemy, and once they do, the enemy will be defeated and they can move through the red gate. Enemies move very laterally on this grid, up, down, left, and right. The player can move any direction they wish, even over lines, diagonally, across, or any way. However, they must be in a square completely to paint it. This is a little more advanced picture where the players turn themselves red as the red circle is defeating the red enemy. They can then reset their color star, turn blue, and defeat the blue enemy, or they could just turn themselves purple by mixing red and blue, and once they're purple, they could defeat both enemies at once. Go through the purple gate at the top left to get the extra heart, and then reset their color to red via the black 6-pointed reset color star at the top right, change to red, and get through the gate. The player choice in this game is very simple. The player here can either decide to change themselves to blue, defeat the blue enemy, and then reset their color via the star in the top right, and then change to red, defeat the red enemy, and proceed through the gate. Or they could change themselves to purple by mixing red and blue, and then surround both enemies. How this would work is if the player were to surround one enemy at a time, they would get, say, 50 points. Defeating 2 would give them 100 points. However, if the player were to surround both of these enemies, they would get the standard 50 points each, but they would also get a ×2 multiplier, giving them 200 points. This gives incentive for the players to come up with creative ways to defeat the enemies. Also, enemies will chase a player whenever the player is within 3 grid square radius of them. Similar titles to this is Cubert, Color World, and Okami. A lot of these games have some similar aspects, but nothing was exactly what I was trying to go for. So I think I came up with something kind of unique, and I definitely think there's a great potential for creativity in this game because of all the different colors. Later on, there could definitely be enemies added that would drop colors of their own. The players would either have to erase or avoid. Enemies that shot projectiles at the player, or enemies that were faster than normal enemies. And this gives a lot of creativity for the player because they could mix and match colors that could also be added to give a wider variety of colors so that the player can have greater risk and reward for trying out different combinations. Also, the game could probably be very simple if it's not designed properly, and there could be some difficulty in coding because of all the color swapping so frequently, especially with a lot of enemies. Well, this has been my pitch for Rainbow Blitz. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you for watching.